Hello, in this video I'm going to go over some of the basic functions that you can do within Excel. So I'm going to go over subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, and sums. So to do this, any formula that you want to do in Excel, you always have to start with the equal sign. So you hit equal, you take the first number that you want to subtract in this case, which is B2. You hit the negative key, which is right next to 0 on the top row, and then you hit the second number you want to subtract. That's one way to do this. Another way to do this is if you hit equals, you could type in instead of click on the cells. So you can see that the rows and columns are identified with letters and numbers. So I can just type in the cell, so equals B3, and then minus C3, and it does the same thing. Another way I could do this is if I'm going to do the same formula for each of these cells, I can right click, hit copy, and then go to the next cell I want to do it to put the formula in and paste. And that will paste that formula into each one. I can also use the shortcuts from the keyboard to do the same thing. So the shortcut Control C will copy a cell, which is the formula in this case. Then I go down to the next cell I'm interested in and I hit Control V and it works the same. Be aware the shortcuts are different for Mac than it is for a PC or Linux. I can also paste to multiple cells by just highlighting them all. So I have all these highlighted, I paste, and that formula is pasted into each one individually. The difference between subtraction and addition is I go from a negative to a positive for the operator. So equals B2 plus C2, enter. Division equals B2, and then I'll do the /, which is the button next to the right shift on a standard keyboard, and then C2. And then multiplication or product equals B2, then the asterisk key, which is a shift and 8 on the number row, and C2, enter. Now, if I want to copy this formula all the way down the line, I don't actually have to hit the copy and paste each one individually. Instead, I can go down with the cell that I want to copy highlighted here. You can see that normally I have a big cursor, but if I go down to the bottom right, it changes into a little cursor. If I double click on here, it will copy the formula to the very last entry here, which would actually be the total row because I have something there, copying that formula all the way down. I can also do this for multiple formulas. So since I have both of these highlighted, it would copy the formula for division and multiplication all the way down, which I will now do. At this point, we want to look at sums. Sums are ways to take all these numbers and add them up. I could do equals B2 plus B3 plus B4, but that's long and annoying. So we have a function called sum. So I type equals sum, and then I do an open parentheses, shift 9 on the number pad. At this point, I could either enter each number individually, so B2, then I can hit comma, B3, comma, B4, comma, if I want to. However, Excel has something called an array. I can click and drag all the numbers that I'm interested in. So I want to go B2 down to B21, and it enters the formula of equals sum, open parentheses, B2 colon B21. And this can be entered manually as well. I hit close parentheses, enter, and it does the formula. There's also the ability, if you go up to formula ribbon, to hit auto sum, and it will guess what you're trying to sum. Another way I can copy this formula across is if I hit the bottom right part here and move to the right, it will copy that formula to each other one. I hope this is helpful.